can be saved on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Yeah. You can have the link to your Facebook. So
You can send it to me after.
Yeah.
If you want. So we're going to talk about some concepts and principles. Hopefully, it's simple to understand, and then maybe you can help me translate.
OK， 我们会讲一些基本的原则，然后跟大家说明。那如果大家有兴趣想要赶快出门的，现在也可以赶快出门啊。我们会等一下 officer 他会讲一些原则，那我会翻译出来给大家听。如果大家不是很清楚的话。
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Okay.
A pair. 2, 1, 2. A pair. Yes, okay.
Yeah. So we need groups of 2, and then I can be on the outside, but to have you translate, I think it's helpful.
Yes.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is the idea of to stay, in a standing situation. Nobody wants to be on the ground, like to fall down, or that's not generally speaking. So we try to stay standing. And one way to remain standing that helps is to have the good foundation or the balance. Or the base. And we're going to talk about that right now. So once you have good base, so it's a very simple concept, but we start with that.
我们就从站姿开始，我们但站姿你要确保自己站的地方是很稳定的。
Yeah. So if should tell me. Looping. So if I'm talking to Ruping, normal people talk with just their feet like this situation, and that's okay. The problem is if something was going to happen, like in some kind of situation, since there's only 2 points on the ground, there's no balance like this way right now, even for me, right? Because I'm standing on my 2 feet like this. So if people are talking to each other, that's fine because there's not going to be any situation. But if there was some person coming up to me and I didn't know what they were going to do, and I couldn't just leave, then I would want to position myself to face them, right? And I think that's a good thing to talk about too, because if I had the option to not stay there, then I can just leave. But if the intuition, like if I had a feeling that something is going to go wrong, I don't want to ignore that. And if you want to, I don't know.
OK， 那在这边的时候呢，刚才 officer 有提到说，还蛮重要的一点是，如果你发现有陌生人或者是你不认识的人跟你，可能你们有对话就面对面 OK， 但是如果说但是他如果在你的视线范围以内，你要移转你的方向去面对他，不要让他在你的视线范围之外，这样他做了什么其他的事情就不是很清楚。尤其是你的 foundation 是你的这个平衡，你是2只脚这样子平衡，那你如果是侧面的话，你是没有办法平衡的，所以就是要面对你觉得有危险的。那如果说你可以离开的话，你就可以先离开。那有时候状况是没办法离开，就是要面对你觉得有危险的。
So maybe a few steps before to talk about like if the grouping was facing that way, walking, let's stay around. You can just pretend walking. Yeah. And if she's seen a person to behind, like if there's a location that she can go to that's safe, then she can keep going that way. If it's not one right close by, right, you can stay stuck here. If there's not a place close by, what kinds of things would be important is that Ruping knows that I'm behind. And I think that's what they call in the classes, like people call that one like situational awareness or being alert. And I think mostly, a lot of times, many younger people has harder time to get to it because they do their phone. So focus on something that they're not paying attention to the outside. So that would be a step before any physical action, the awareness to understand what is going on around us is a very important first step, because that when you have that in place, then it's easier to to address other things and compared to not being aware at all and something happens because of surprise, you know. So just being aware of what is happening around you. So for example, if you was facing that way and if I was here, you don't have to do something to me right now, but you can say, oh, there's a person, I know there's a person behind me. And especially more when there's just less people, right? Not as much people around, like not in a crowded shopping center, but like one person, you, and another person. Like that's more time to be like, oh, I know there's another person. So starting with that by being aware of your surroundings. So that'll be the first foundation.
OK，那我们回到刚刚说的你一定要面对陌生人的这一件事情之前，你应该要更了解的事情就是，不要边走边滑手机啦，边走边看东西，然后就是，也就是说你要随时保持警觉，你的身边有没有陌生人，或者是说你的身边有没有可疑的，你觉得很担心的这个状况，尤其是如果你是自己单独行走的时候，只有你一个人，然后后面就出现一个人，就一直跟在你的屁股后面。那时候呢，或许你也可以，如果刚好手上有手机的话，也可以开始打电话联络，然后看自己有什么有什么人可以联络的。OK。
So if a person thought another person was following, I think depends where it is. Like I said, if the place you're going to is not close by, I know a lot of people ask what should they do. You know, what if you the intuition, right? If you think that somebody's following you, that's important to not ignore that feeling. So I don't know if you can explain that.
那如果说你觉得有人在跟踪你的话，那么你也不要忽视这样子的感觉，你要自己想办法，就是要不然就是打电话打给911，或者是打给What's the best strategy? Should we call 911?
No, that's what we're going to talk about. So
OK， 他说等一下我们会来谈。
Yeah, calling is an option if you want to. I think, and we brought this up because there's a situation that, you know, things that happen in the city or anywhere that people ask, like, well, what should I do, right? Like, and one idea, right, the options, there's no one correct every time option. Just like there's not one that's always wrong, because we cannot predict, you know, the future. So if like Wu Ping was facing that way, and if your answer was to ignore me and just pretend like I'm not here, that doesn't mean something's going to happen to you, right? You don't know, and you cannot predict that. And that doesn't, and so as like I said, if that happens and you just keep walking and I just keep walking and you go whatever direction, nothing happens, that's fine. However, if I was going to want to do something to you, which you cannot predict, right? Like if I'm walking this way, not me in the police uniform, but just me as like a regular walking this way, you don't know if I'm going to do something until when.
Yeah.
And not me in the clothes like this, right? Like I'm not
But
but my point is, when do you know I'm going to do something, right?
Will you approach me too closely?
or won't grab her back.
Yeah, I have to almost do it, the action, before you find out. You know that? You understand? Like how close? Like how close? Like this close?
No, that was too close to me. I will-
Yeah. So it depends on each person, because some people, they're not gonna react to how close, right? And especially if there's other people going this direction. So my point is, you cannot know when I'm going to do it. Like you don't know. Like there's no way to know if he's facing this way. And the problem, which is not wrong, but you can come back here. If I was going to do something, if a person was going to do something, you know, maybe I have another example so I can talk from the outside. Like somebody, so some other person,
Only
doesn't
one
matter,
people.
anybody. Is there? Okay.
Dr. Chen.
Dr. Chen.
Yeah.
So face that way, you think. So if Dr. Chen was going to do something, grab the bag or whatever, right? Like, that's not a good position to defend yourself.
I should.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, if you had to choose, if you somehow knew he was going to do something, you would rather be facing him or away.
I will away.
Yeah, if you could get away, That's my point. Like, if you can leave, you can leave. But if you could not for some reason because of like the area is too
万一你跑不过他怎么办呢？You run too slow.
you're too slow. Yeah, if you cannot leave very quickly,
The person try always be strong.
I would rather be facing
哦，真的吗？
because
真的吗？
you want to explain that?
Yes，所以刚才有提到说，如果你觉得有人会对你做出不好的事情的时候，你有两个选择，一个是赶快逃跑，一个是面对他。那我刚才做了一个错误的选择，他说也不是错误啦，他说他不会这样做，也就是说我会赶快逃跑，但是有可能第一个你跑得比较慢，第二个有可能那个地方很窄，根本跑不掉，所以那你还不如就是直接面对你觉得有危险的人。
And that's why I say when the option to leave is not possible because maybe cannot run away or some reason. Because if you turn that way. If you try to protect yourself from this position to Dr. Chen, it's harder.
Right.
Your arm and leg is not made to go this way.
Yeah.
And you kind of see. So if it was not an option to leave, I would always turn and face the person. And the other reason why is because besides being able to use your limbs to protect yourself, you can look at what's happening. Like you can see with your eyes easier than back this way. And you can actually do something very interesting to know what the intent of the other person is when you're facing them. And I'll show an example of how to do that after this. You want to.
然后面对你觉得可疑的人，比方说大车券，因为它有一个好处就是你可以看得出来他有没有什么不好的意图，你可以面对面的了解他想要做什么，这是面对面的好处。
Just over there. Right there.
掰的前后。
And so from this far away, right? And so if you facing this way and you were walking and you see you don't have to move, just stay in the same place. And then there's a person right there. And you was like, oh, I don't know if he's following. And then you went like right, left, right, and then he's still behind. I would, if I couldn't just leave, because there's not a door to go inside or something, I would turn around and face him. And then from this position, even from here, it's better because you can see him. And if you needed to call, you can describe like, the blue pants and the jacket, if you was going to call. But the other reason is, even if you're looking right now, when do you know he's going to do something? Or how do you know what he's going to do? Or if he's going to have a bad intention or not? Like right now.
He will go tell me.
Well, you both walking this way, and you stop and you turn around, right? And he's still walking this way, just walk normal. Yeah. How do you know if he's going to do something or not? Cannot, right? You don't know. So you have to guess. So go back. Here's a simple way to know. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Like, use your both hands, and just have your both hands like this. One in the front, one foot in the front, with a good balance, right? Then your knees a little bit. And what can you say to this? Something simple like stop.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
Right. Okay. Now, go. Now stay like that.
Stop.
Right. Now, if you did that, I don't know if these guys can see. Oh yeah, I think it's, yeah. So if you did that, what is Dr. Chin's choice right now?
He can just stop or.
He can stop.
Or attack.
He can go away,
Yeah.
or he can come forward.
Right.
Right. One of those three. And if he does the first two, he stop or he go away. That's good. And in this posture, if you like this, right? And whatever he says doesn't matter. He can say anything. But if you do it like that, you say stop, and he keeps walking this way. What do you know right away?
Yeah. He doesn't want to stop. Maybe he
Well,
wants
no,
to.
well, why not? Well, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Something not good is going to happen,
Oh, okay.
right? Just think of any language, any country. This means what? Don't come any closer. And if you do this, right? And even if you like pretend I didn't have the uniform, right? You tell me go. Good. No, you stay.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's okay. I just want to see what you already know. Something bad is not gonna happen. Do you understand?
Okay.
It's not confusing anymore because this direction is very clear.
Clear.
And if a person sees that and they keep doing the opposite of what you said, you already know something bad is going to happen.
OK，所以刚才 officer 也提醒我一件事情，因为我也是没有什么概念。他说，如果你看见陌生人他一直跟着你，然后呢，在你的后面，你可以做的事情就是你回头面对他。那面对他了呢，你也不知道他是好意还是坏意，你可以做出一个动作，就是你把你的脚一脚在前，一脚在后，然后把自己弄得很稳定。很稳定之后呢，前脚稍微弯一点，后脚稍微直一点的，你的下盘会比较稳，然后手举起来，告诉他说 stop， 告诉他说 stop。那他如果 stop 的话，或者他走其他的地方，那你就安全没问题。如果他没有 stop 的时候，他继续往你这边走过的时候，你就不要像我一样傻傻的，就是想说，哎，或许他是要去别的地方。你只要做出这个动作，他还没有 stop， 他就是不怀好意了。就是你就要知道你的那个第二个计划，就是说，哦，这是我已经遇到坏人。
Because what you're doing is you're making a boundary. Right? And if somebody crosses it, you know it's not going to be good. It's not a guess anymore. Like if you're facing that way, right? You face that way. And if he was going to do something, Dr. Chin, you didn't know if he's going to do it or when. You don't know.
No, I don't.
But if you turn and face him and try to say, hey, stop, and he still comes forward, you know something is going to happen right now. It's not a question anymore. And the other good thing is that, yes, you're facing him, you can see what he is, and you bet your arms, if you're going to protect yourself, this is better position to do it than like this, where you can protect yourself in behind. And if he was going to follow you to try to get the bag, maybe he might even say, hey, give me your bag.
Oh, yeah.
And you can go like, here, take the bag, and then you can go the other direction. But that way, to me, it's better than if you're facing that way, right, face that way. And he's going to take, he decided he wants to take it, you're still facing that way, and then he come over here, let's stay right there. He come over here and you can grab it right now, right? Boom, pause. And so from this, so you can do that. And what happens is if you do that in reaction, you might get hurt from falling down from that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
And my point is, besides, hopefully people understand that if there's a thing in there that is very valuable, you can replace that one more than your body. And the idea of having to choose between, I'm gonna hold on to this bag or not get hurt. I mean, if it was, any person that cares about another person, they would say like, you can get another one. You can replace that one. You can get, you cannot do that for yourself. So the reaction so two things, right? One is if the person wants a possession, you will know right away if you turn and face them. They're gonna say, hey, give me your thing. And you can just throw it in the opposite direction and go.
So cooperative.
Yeah, that's better because you're not gonna get hurt. If they're going because you have the bag and you hold like this, which you wouldn't even know until they start grabbing it, there's more chance you're gonna react to hold, and then you could get injured by falling, and that's worse for sure. But I said that starts with what? The awareness to know that there's a person, and the second thing is if there is a person and you cannot keep going, right? Let's presume you can't just go inside the door or the room or the car right away. Then the next best thing is to turn and face them, for the reasons of being able to see, better position to protect yourself. And then they might even say what they want, And if it's a property, you can give it to them. I mean, you don't have to go like this, but you can if you're gonna go that way, you can throw it like that way and go opposite, And then because I actually have a friend who got robbed before, and they was trying to take the bag, And in taking the bag, they end up getting dragged on the ground, from that incident. And that doesn't mean it's wrong to do that. I'm just saying, like, if there was a way to know in advance, like, you want this bag here, take this bag, and then I can be safe myself,
Okay.
And I think that's to think in advance of those things, because nobody wants to just give their property, right? Nobody wants to do that. But if that's what the other person wants, and they're bigger, stronger person, what is the other option then? I mean, you're gonna fight that person right there, and if you are gonna fight, is that piece of property worth it? Because sometimes maybe somebody might say yes, and to that person, then do that then. But if it's not, and say I can get another one of this, and I don't want to get injured, it would help to know that that's what they want. And how you know? You tell them, so you do like that.
OK， 所以刚刚我们的 officer 有提醒我们大家第三件事情，第一件事情就是你要先 了解你周围的环境，就是你不能很无意识的就在街上乱逛，或者是滑手机，或者是讲话聊天。你要知道你的周遭环境发生了什么事情。那你如果有这样子的一个警觉性的话，然后你还发现后面有人跟着你，那你其实你要做的最好选择，如果你可以很快的跑到你自己的车上，把车开走，或者是说你可以很快的跑到一间店里或者是一个房子里面去的话，那你想要这样做的话 ，OK。但是如果你没有条件可以做到第二点，就是赶快进入室内或赶快进入安全的地方，最好的方法就是不要忽视它，而是直接面对它。那直接面对它呢，你就可以先 stop 了之后，它如果还没有 stop 呢，那你就可以再做另外一个选择。比方说，他如果是要拿你的包包，那他如果要拿你的包包的时候，你没有面对他，那他直接拿你包包，我觉得我们的潜意识，我们的下意识一定是想说我要保护东西，那这时候你就很容易发生危险啊。东西自己的生命跟安全永远是比身外永远是比这些 valuable 的这些有价值的东西还要来得重要，你不会想要受伤。所以他就是说，其实最好的办法就是直接的面对他。面对他之后，你有两个好处，第一个是你知道他是好人或坏人，第二个呢，你也知道他要做什么。然后他会告诉你说啊，你把你的包包给我，那你就赶快，如果你要是要往右边跑的话，那你就把包包丢到左边去，让他去左边拿，你赶快往右边离开。那如果这个东西真的很重要，你真的就是妈妈传给你的东西的时候，你一定要保护它的话，那你就再看看怎么办吧。
那你问那个 officer， 我们需不需要女生是不是去包包里面需不需要准备那个 gas spread？
pepper spray.
Do we need to have a spray in the
No, I mean, you can carry it. I mean, any tool you have, it could be good or bad, but I mean, you have to, if you're gonna have something, you have to practice using it. Like to have it in your purse and not touch it for a long time, it's not gonna help in the
对，
situation.
其实你有这些东西不见得是很好的，因为你可能你不会用，或者你也来不及拿出来。
I think more than a tool too. I mean, tools is good if you practice it, but the idea is even if you had something, you kind of use it if you're fixing like that way. You know, you have to.
最重要是要面对危险的地方。
Before going back a little bit, steps to think too, because some people might not want to give the property, you know, and then there's a sheet that I can leave here that has some general safety tips that actually has English and then has traditional short Chinese on the bottom for these different ones. Like I know my mom does a lot, which they have the bag, she has her bag, but she has like a separate smaller around her waist for the cash. And if you go outside with a lot of cash, that's you know, that's a little bit more
Too smart.
well, that's a little bit more difficult to just let go, right? And if you're going to do it, you know, to carry it in something else so that somebody cannot just, you're more comfortable to let it go, right? Because some people don't want to. But yeah, then, you know, don't. And then you can go beyond the bag to other things like jewelry. Like some communities, the older population, they like to wear a lot of jewelry. Like the Indian culture, very, very common to have lots of gold jewelry, 24 karat. And that's a lot of people will drive around to look for people who has it. They have in the past, like they're looking the whole time while they're driving around. Like any person that has a lot of jewelry, they stop and then they rob that person. So just ways to minimize that chance of happening. That's a good idea. But like to go back to the main point, which is if you're gonna be outside, to be aware of your surrounding, and if you feel like some person is following you, don't ignore that feeling. And then if you are not able to get away, right, that's the first option, to just always disengage and leave. Then the best next choice is to face and challenge them. And what the stop does is it sets up a barrier, a boundary that you can now know what their intention is. And then if it's not good, you know, you're gonna at least not be surprised. And then sometimes they might tell you what their intention is. And if it's a property, you can give it without potentially having yourself get injured. And I think you already explained all that, right?
Yes,
Okay. So this specific posture, like what is some general principle of standing like this, you know, or anything, even if you had a pepper spray or whatever, you still want to have good balance, because if you don't have the balance underneath, you can fall down. Nobody wants to do that. So what does that mean to have the base is, like if we stand normal like this, right? if you put force this way to me on my shoulder, right, I'm gonna go backwards because there's no balance. And this direction, same thing, you're pulling this way, I'm not gonna be able to stop the pull when you hold my arm and go that way, because I don't have balance. So to stand with a normal posture, like talking posture, that's good for talking because no force is coming to you. But if you stand like this in a fight, it's not, right? I can get knocked this way or any direction, right? Because there's just only 2 points on the ground. So to do like a front and a back, it doesn't really matter which one is like right or left, but the point is if you have a front and a back foot, and yeah, whichever way, it doesn't matter, right or left. If there's force to your shoulder, you can lean into this because of that back foot right there, right? You can lean this way, yes, right? And if there's pull, you can do the other direction, right? So the idea of having you have like a post on the front or the back versus just standing like this with no base points, right? You stand with a, whatever you explain that way, like a staggered or and then you have the hands in this. We're gonna talk about the upper body next, but it starts with the foundation of your balance, right? Because if you have this part, you're not gonna be able to do anything to protect yourself up here anyway. You'll fall down, right? So standing with this, you guys can also do, right? This idea of you can go. So I'll explain to them. If a person paired up, so you can practice very little force like this. Watching me and rotating up. So she stand with 1 foot in the front, and not just 1 foot shoulder too, right? Because standing like straight is not as good as standing a little bit like this, and your both hands is like this. So if I was gonna, so to test, watch right here. I can push into the shoulder just a little, right, and then she can lean into it a little bit, lean into it, yeah, like that. That's it. Not anymore. Just very little, right? Minimal pressure, and then the pull is the opposite direction, right? Just a little. No, too much. That's not. That should be just a little, and then she do it to me. Look, she pushed into my shoulder just a little bit, right? I just want to practice having the pose, right? And then the pull is the same thing, right? Yeah, that's all. Just back and forth a few times, right? And you can explain.
OK，刚才有讲到，如果你面对危险的时候，你不要这样子两只脚打开，肩头放在做运动的姿势，这样是不对的。要一脚在前，一脚在后，前脚稍微弯一点点，后脚稍微直一点点，然后重心放好。
然后拉的时候，
不要直接面对，稍微肩膀侧一点点，也不是全部哦。那这样子的话呢，如果有比较好的就好。如果他要推你，如果他要推你，你也可以稍微挡起；如果他要拉你，你也可以稍微往后拉。你能够比较好的平衡，而不是站在那边给人推，那可能一拉你可能更好。OK， 所以我们是刚刚在这个所以你们大家在家里也可以站着看看，那这样是不是在运动的时候，你的重心在转的时候是比较容易转的，而这样子呢，你的重心在转的时候是不是比较不平衡？现在就可以在家里，就算自己一个人可以这样子试试看。然后呢，这个阿美神他也有带了一些贴件给我们，那这个会后我们可以把它列出来，然后放在这个 OK。那现在 Office 在通导大家的这个动作。
Okay, so that's about this lower body.
现在讲的是下盘，我们现在开始讲上面的动作。
You know, we're not doing any strike, so doesn't matter which foot is in the front right now, but the point is, if you have 1 foot in the front and 1 in the back, you have ability to balance. The challenge is, if we're standing like in this posture, that you have your hands like this, right? This balance is only good for if I'm here, right? So keep your hands like this, right? If you stay still, don't move, right? I mean, if I try to go into, you have to force, right? You can lean into me a little bit, right? And you can pull away, right? If I'm pulling this way, you can lean that way, or lean back. Yeah, right? You can keep yourself upright and keep yourself on your feet. Stay like this. But if I move to here, stay right there. If I move to here, now there's no balance this way now. Right? I can push you this way, you go fall that way, right? So the point is, if I'm moving, you got to follow me. So one exercise to practice that one is like, so how can we do it? A lot of different ways. We'll have one person be the center point. So I'm gonna demonstrate right now. So very slowly, so stand normal. You just a reference for, right? If you're there, I don't make my body like this. Now you can stand normal, just normal, a little bit more back. That way. Now, if you slowly walk to like this way, right? Yeah, keep going. It's not good anymore for me. Maybe, yeah, so go back. So while you're moving this way, right, I gotta do what? I gotta follow so that I always have a front and a back foot. Right? If you go that way, it'll be the opposite. It can be a pivot, it doesn't have to be a standing still, right? I could move. Right? My point is, I cannot like if you was going this way, keep going. Like this is not good anymore right now for me. Right? I gotta so slowly what we can do is one person kind of in the center area, and the other person can slowly walk around like in a radius, which is like not coming closer, just around, and I can practice doing like this, right? Just practice following this way, right? And then you go the other direction, and I go this way. Okay, so switch roles. So now you're the person in the center, right? So you have your good posture right here, right? I'm not gonna go closer. I'm just gonna go so you can track me with your feet, right? So you always have a front to back, right? Good, very good, very good, perfect. Right, and now if I'm going, I'll see right there. I would still stay with my good back, yeah. Now we'll go this way, just keep going. Wait, that's too much already. Right, a little bit too much, so go right there. Keep it like this, right? We keep this reference point. Because if I said stop at any point, if we say freeze, and I start to put the force, you should be able to push into it, yeah, leaning this way. Yes, or if I pull, you should be leaning, right? So every time it never changes because we're always moving with each other, right? So we can try that one. So one person stays kind of in the center, and then the other person going to slowly walk in one direction slowly, and in the other direction slowly, and then switch role after one, try both directions. Yeah?
好，现在我们在讲到的东西呢，就
So one
是
person, you just follow it, you just follow
你
it.
的防卫知识，这应该叫做可以说是防御措施。你的防御知识并不永远都是面对同一个方向，而是你的防御知识要面对着对你有威胁的人。如果他有绕着你移动的时候，你要一举一动到面对他，然后你自己都还有很好的对认识的时候，所以有时候也不能一下想太多，一下太想要眼睛一直盯着这一位对你有威胁的
And
人。
you can do the check of the balance, right?
所以我们现在在练习那个
shoulder push. No, so you leaning into it. Yes, good, yes. And if there's a yes, now you switch. The whole point is it's not just this good balance is only good if the person is where Dr. Chin. If it's where you are, this is not good right now. I need to fix it and go to here. Yeah. So you do. So unfortunately, there's not one position I can just say and say, oh, it's very good right now. Because it depends on the other person. Right? And if they're moving, I don't want to just say I have to Okay. So one principle or the concept is your arms, your hand, your limbs, right, has to be between us. So keep your good posture right here, and you have like this, right? It has to be between us. And if your hands stay there, right, don't move your hands. Don't move. Like your hand, no, don't move. Your hand's not between us anymore. That's not good, right? So to have this tracking of your upper body and lower body together, so that it's always right. Because what is the hands going to do? The hands is going to be your first like defense, right? To all this part up here. And the reason why I would say to do the hands this way is because in every language or in every country, this means stop. There's no confusion of this, right? This doesn't mean come closer to me. This means stay back, right? Both hands, it's very clear. And if you have your hands in this area like this, right? Because think about what am I going to, like, what is the person going to do? I mean, we don't know, right? They could try to tackle your legs. Anything is possible, but most people, if it's going to be an attack, like you said, you don't have the person. They say, oh, give the person. You do it, and then they're still going for you. It's probably going to be to someplace over here, which is why you should have your hands between, right? Because if your hand is like down or away, it's not like the concept of the center line. That's like a very universal martial arts principle. Like the center of your body, you have to have some protections to it, right? Because if the center is open, and if your center like this is not good right now, so this has to be monitored with some limbs, which is your hands in this case, right? And so the idea is the general principle, right? Besides your body turning and following is your hands, your upper body limbs should be between you and the other person. Because if it's between us, it can do two things, right? It can do defense, right? I'm trying to grab it, it can grab you as easily. And if you're going to do offense, right, you have to have it between us to use it. If it's not between us, like you cannot use that hand over there to hit me right now, right? And you cannot protect yourself if it's not between. So does that you want to explain? So the concept of having your limbs be close to the center and in between you and the other person.
OK，所以刚才除了脚要站好以外，你的手一定要拿出来，在任何的文化里面，你的手只要两只手都举起来，像这样子的，像这样的姿势，它就显示到不要再靠近，就表示说我不喜欢你再靠近我。所以把这样的一个姿势比出来，有第一个。你可以告诉他很明确的讯息，不要靠近。第二个，你可以保护自己，你不会想要手张开，让人家来攻击你的。你只要把手放在你跟可疑的人中间，你就可以保护自己，然后也可以也可以也可以都可以。所以很重要的是手要摆出来，放在这样的一个姿势。
To throw the property and leave. I mean, if you're getting attacked with it, it's the same principle as not having any weapon, which is I have to have my hands here to block it, or just do something. Otherwise, I can get cut by it, right?
So do you think it's an idea that we'll put some, cash in the easier access, so our time would just say.
Well, if you look at well, that's well, but like for the example I was talking about, my like to have a separate thing for. So if you can take something valuable outside, not keep it in the thing that's visible. Like if you can carry a bag or a purse, if you can take something valuable too, have it in a separate thing. So you can have no problem just throwing the thing away. That's what I always recommend. Or not taking that amount of whatever it is outside. There's this concept of inside limb, inside arm or limb position. This is a concept, or we don't have to drill it necessarily, but this is something that's very interesting. Distance management, So how far away from the person are you able to stand without getting hit? Like what is the closest we can be without you getting hit by something? Like punch or kick, right? How far away? I'll say right where we are right now is about two arms.
Yeah.
2 arms is about as close as we can be, but still far away to not hit you. Right? I cannot punch you from here, and I cannot kick you from here, and you cannot punch or kick me. That changes when what? When one of us comes closer, right? So the idea of knowing how far, like right now we're 2 arms away. That's good. Like I know right now you have if you try to attack me, you gotta come closer to me, right? And then I can have 2 choices, right? I can either keep my distance away, right? Which is what we can kind of practice right now very simply, right? So stand where you are right there. So this concept is just basically with your good balance. Trying to keep this good balance and have your hands here. If I move forward, what you're gonna do to keep this distance? You back up. And if you back up in a way that is keeping your balance, that's a little bit better. So I'll try to just as a concept to demonstrate. We can all try right now. Do it like this. So if you step forward to me, go back. If you're moving your feet, this is to try to move it in a way that is not making your base narrow. So right now it's narrow. Right, go back. So if you come in this way, it'll be with that foot. No, that foot first. So you have your good balance, and then you move your back foot to come up behind. Not like I said, watch me. So if you're coming forward to me, come forward. Yes. Right? Just watch my movement, right? If I was going to go forward to another person, it would be this way. So what is happening with my base? What's the difference? It's not a walking, right? It's walking, yeah, like that. And the reason why that's better is because my base get into your good balance, very good balance. Right? Strongest base you can do, good. Okay, so if you make that legs narrower, where's my balance right now? Not good. So if you're gonna come forward, if you were gonna move this way, it'll be that foot first, right? And if you're gonna move backwards, it'll be what? The other way. Yeah. Why? Because every step makes your base wider and you come back to the normal one. It's wider and you come back, wider and you come back, even forward, wider. And if it was left or right, it would be the same principle. Look, my 1 foot is going to be on closer to this side. I can move this way, right? And then I can move this way. So there's not really a time when my balance goes like this, or when it goes like this. And from right here, it's not wrong. It just means I don't have good balance right now. And I want to reduce the times when I have no balance. So one concept is to do, like you guys are doing it right there, yeah. It's just,
Okay.那
just the hands up with it.
那如果这个
We're gonna move with the idea to not close this distance. Very slowly, right? So I can move forward, you go back that way, okay, good. Now if you come forward, I'll practice this, right? Stay up. And now we can circle this way, right? Look like this, slow. Both hands right, just like this, yep. Moving this way, good. Gonna go that way again. Yeah, step and step with that foot, right? That foot. Yes. Right, go.
后脚
Right. And step forward, just practice one part, right? Now we pause right here, right? Let's see if this check your balance. I push, look, strong, and pull. Strong, right? That's the check, right? And you can do that with each other. Go ahead.
OK，好，所以
You can make sure you have space that you don't hit anybody, right? Crash into anybody.
你跟可疑人士的距离不会永远都是保持一样的距离哦。那他如果想要靠近你的时候怎么办呢？你可能会想要后退，那你后退的时候呢？基本后退的时候，后脚先，前脚再回，后脚先，前脚再回。因为这样你才会一直有足够的空间让你保持平衡。那如果想要前进的时候呢，前脚先，后脚再上，前脚先，后脚再上，你才会一直都有很好的平衡。我们要想要把我们自己平衡不好的时间减到最低。OK， 所以也就是说你在移动的时候，你如果往前，前脚先；如果往后，后脚先；如果往旁边也是一样，要维持一样的这个脚和脚中间的距离，然后手一定都要保持这样的一个防卫的姿势在前面。
Okay.
所以你们可以在家里面练习一下往前，还有往后。还有往旁边，你们都可以在家里练习。
There's 2 more points to make. And we don't have to demonstrate or practice this one, but I just want to talk about it. So that's the safest distance I can be, and you can be. That's not going to get you hit, right? And that's not always possible to keep, right? Because if a person's like running, you cannot keep going like this, right? You're not going to be able to keep the distance. If you were not able to keep the distance for some reason, right? What distance would you try to avoid? The one to avoid is 1 arm away, right? If you just stay right here and we stand 1 arm away, that's the worst distance to stand for a strike, because you can get hit really hard from 1 arm. That's the end of my punch. Boom. And same for me. Like, I wouldn't want to do that if the other person was way bigger than me, because it's not fair, right? If I am a foot smaller than the person, and if there was younger and stronger and everything, that's not a fight I want to try punching them back with. That's not going to go well for me probably. If that's the only thing I have, then yeah, do that. But it's the odds is against my favor if I go into. That's why they have like weight classes for a fighter, for combat sports like boxing, everyone, right? Wrestling. It's not fair when it's a bigger person. Right? But interestingly, so 2 arms away or more, that's great. That's good, right? 1 arm away, this distance is very bad for a person trying to hit you. This is a conversation range, but so it's kind of right. Like I talk to people 1 arm away, but if we're punching, it's not good. So, is there another safer distance? Is there outside is obviously better, but is there another safer one from punches? And the answer is like this. This is the second safest, closest possible, which is not very obvious to think of. It's not an intuitive answer. But why is that safer to be here? Why?
Stronger the people.
well, then it takes away the ability for the other person to hit you very hard, right? Because what is yes, that's average. And what is the requirement for a powerful punch to happen? What is the requirement? What is needed? Yeah, what do you need to hit me very hard? Yeah, what is this called? Distance. I mean distance. Even if you have like strong muscles and you can lift like 500 pounds, if I'm like this to you, you cannot hit me really hard. And that's not saying that's a good thing, right? That's still not good, but boxing, you ever watched boxing before? You know, they have two fighters. Their goal is to do what? Hit as hard as you can, right? They have a referee that watches the match, right? What is not allowed in boxing? There's one thing you do that they don't allow. You know what it is? You go like this. You cannot do that in boxing. And why is that not allowed in boxing? The sport that the goal is to punch the person as hard as I can. Doing this is not allowed. Why is that? So if Dr. Chen is over here, right? We're trying to spar with each other, and I'm getting beaten up. Like oh, I'm getting beat. Like, and if I had no other way to stop him from doing that, I kind of just say, okay, I quit already, right? I would go like this. Because those punches is not gonna knock me out. And that's the reason why in boxing, the referee says, no, you gotta go like that. And then they start fighting again, right? The reason why is because if two people are fighting each other and one person decides to go like this to the other person, nobody's gonna get powerful punches because why? There's no distance. And you need distance to create power to generate effective strikes. If you don't have distance, you can't do it. Right? That doesn't mean the fight is over. It just means that in that moment in time, that's an improvement. Because the other person, they won't be able to hit you hard. And the craziest part is, you know, like if I was getting beaten up and then I come in here like this, boom, and he could still try to swing like this, right? And I stay very close. What's the next other behavior? Am I trying to twist me around and just stay really close? What else? What else? What else? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, like this way, I move this way. What else? What else? This, that way, what else? Yeah, like that. Here, right there. Why you did that?
Get rid of you.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So he's trying to push me away because I'm too close, and he's trying to push me to create this again, right? But then when he do that, I can feel push. But I can do this, boom, and I can push off of you, right? So I can create space with the knowledge that you're trying to get away from me, and I can use that time to get away from you. Versus, right? If you're trying to like just do slow motion, like reaching for my face, right? And I'm doing this, go keep coming forward, with that hand too. What's the problem? What's the problem? The distance is not changing. I'm trying to get away, but he's coming forward. So the distance between us is the same. And that's very common in fight. Even for police, too, like you try to hit me like I'll balance, I go like this. Right? What's the worst case? I go like round, right?
I have a wall here, but then the back, so you hit away the wall.
So yeah, wall, you cannot go backwards. So my point is the opposite, like it's not intuitive to go closer, but when you take away the distance, you also take away the ability to generate powerful punches, which is, I mean, that's almost better than doing like this, right? Because some people cannot do this. Like I cannot do that, you know, to dodge punches like that. And then there's nothing wrong with turning around and running, right? But the problem is that's presuming I'm able to get away. Because remember, the downside of turning away is what? I cannot see what's happening, and I could still fall down, and then the person is behind me without being able to use my hands to protect me.
OK， 刚刚我们的 officer 跟我们提说，最好的距离呢，就是两个手臂以上的距离。那如果当你靠近到一个手臂的距离的时候，这个就是给别人最好的攻击的的距离。那么当然了，所以你如果没办法只维持这个2个手臂的距离以外的话呢，第二个好的选择就是抱住他。越近，你越靠近，他越没有办法攻击你，因为你需要一些距离，然后让你的攻击变得比较有力气哦。所以当对方的距离没有办法施展开来的时候，他可能就是没办法对你做出很有力的攻击，所以你可能就是越靠近，然后抱住他，或者是越靠近越好。那
如果他有武器呢？如果他有刀啊、枪啊
What if the bad guy have his arm? with knife or gun.
Yeah, weapon or knife, like, I mean, if you can get away from that, obviously trying to get away, right? If they're using that weapon to leverage something else, like a property, that's when you know, like I said, let's say, oh, give me your bag, and they have the gun. Like, I'll just throw it in a direction that I'm not going to and then run the other way. Now, if they try to attack you with it, that's obviously, that's not a good thing, but at least, so we're gonna talk about something else that's kind of connected to that with a weapon idea. So even if you didn't have a weapon, let's start with presuming nothing, because if a person that is able to hurt you without a weapon, like they don't even need one. So starting with just empty hand, right? And we can expand to weapon. Just I wanted 2 more points. If your hand is up, right? We have both hands reaching for me. We just grab it like this. Just stay right here. Just stay right here. No, don't move. Just stay right here. Reach for me. Reach for me. Okay, right now, who's winning right now? You. Because most depends, right? Like, and not talking about height or size, right? But our both arms is extended, right? And our feet are in good balance, and we're just kind of struggling right now. Many people will look at this and say, that's the same. They say, oh, this is the same. But it's not the same because my limbs in relation to Wu Ping's is inside the center, right? This is the center. Reach for me again. Like, if I can get this inside position, why is this better? Not to move her hands out of the way. Like, I might not be strong enough to move her hands out of the way. The reason why this is better is if she tries to reach for my face or something, reach for my face. Right? I have inside position, I can block. You reach for my face over here. Right? Right? Switch roles. So you have your hand inside. Right? And it can be inside where, right? Inside by like the arm, bicep area, right? Like, this is good wedges to block stuff. It can be with her hand, it can be with her forearm, right? Doesn't matter. The point is, if she has her hands inside, there's a ability to block or wedge, right? It could be this part, use your forearm. It's hook like this, yeah, look, activate, yeah, like that, look, you see? Like, there's a little force field around this, right? Both sides, right? It gets. And that's only possible when her limb is inside, right? If it's, and yeah, you can't really block something from the outside, right? If I try to reach for you, how do you block this right now? Well, you gotta come across, right? But now with this hand, like, how this hand gonna block it? Cannot, right? You gotta come, and that's not as good, right, as this, right? If you're gonna try to do something to me, right? Put your hand inside, right? What's blocking your hands from hitting me now? Nothing, right? Her hands is like, you trying to hit me in the face, right? Like, this is all, there's no blocker for this. But just from a defensive standpoint, because we don't have to like hit the person, but to protect yourself, right? It's the same principle of you have your hands closer to the center. So my choice, if I'm trying to grab Ruthie, her hands right here like this, right here. I have to go, what is the ways to get to her? I mean, basically there's the two most common is gonna be straight, right? Straight, and she's have her hands in that space. And the second way is around. Right? And if I come around, you have your hands on the inside of it. See? So by keeping your hands closer to the center, you have the choice to either intercept what I'm trying to reach, or block from the inside. Right? Does that make sense?
好，刚才有提到说，我们要维持这样子的一个姿势是非常重要的。比方说，有人如果靠近你的时候呢，你可以赶快阻挡他，然后阻挡他呢，别人要抓你的时候呢，他刚才有示范了。如果别人这样抓你的时候，你手在里面，你的手在里面，然后阻挡他的时候，你可以很快的把他打开，或者是他也不容易，他从手从外面，他也不容易够得着你，或者是你身体的很舒服。但是你的手在中间的部分，你很容易够得着他的脸，或者是他的手其他的地方。没有道理。
Isn't that good? If I was here, how do you fix this one? Yeah. So you always try to get back to the inside. In some martial arts, like Wing Chun, like they exaggerate the center line so much that they keep their hands like There's no way you come in inside. It's like you go on the outside no matter what. And that's that principle. It's like if you only the center part, you have more defense to block and you have actually more like think about like straight angle to the person, fastest is like straight, right? You can reach around to get them, but that takes more time, right? And that is quick. So strikes that if you could do it, it'd be a straight line. The last piece is, so even though we cannot do it, I can demonstrate it on this ground, but it's the principle of establishing the inside limb, right? So from standing up, we already talked about it. Here it is. If I try to reach for you and you have your hands in that position, look, you have inside limb, inside. If I get my hands inside here, how you fix it? You just go, yeah, you come back around to here, boom, right? So we're fixing it like that, yeah, coming to here. So you have your hands hooking over this way, right? This is good for you, right? For whatever reason, maybe it didn't start like this, but it started like this. How you fix it? Yeah, just go back inside, right? So there's this game of like this is more like grappling right now, right? It's just reacquiring the center line. Right? It looks kind of silly, but the point is, if I don't understand that that's good or bad, I'm not going to change it. So if I didn't know, right, I just try to reach for you, like, you block me, go block me. Yeah, put your two hands right here. Boom, right here, boom, boom. I don't even understand if this is like I don't mean go like this straight through this. That's not good, but that's still better for you because you have your hands in a position to defend. And the other concept we talked about was from here, right? You always have your hands where? Between us, right? Guess what happened? We don't have to do, you don't have to do. But if I was going to be grounded in a situation where I fell down, now what is the new limbs that I use to protect myself? This. And it's the same principle. Like if I could get up, I'll get up. Right? But if I wasn't able to, because whatever reason, you're very close. How would I want my feet to be positioned right now?
Facing her.
Yeah, because I kind of use them to protect myself if it's over here or if it's over here, right? Like my feet can do nothing. So if I fell down in a way that was not with our feet between us, the fastest thing to do is not get up. Because how long it takes to get up? It takes a long time. And I might have to go like this, right? Which is not good if she's doing something. So faster is just going like this. Boom. And then if she walks around, like I can just follow her like this. And if it's the other way, I can follow her. Right? Doesn't matter what I do with my feet, could kick, block. But the point is, I cannot use them unless they're between us. Right? I cannot use them to protect myself if it's like over here. Stay right there. Right? I can't, if she's coming this way, I cannot, like this is not good right now, right? How can I improve this position a little bit? I just go like this, right? And now at least I can use my feet to block and kick, right? And everything is in the mix of possibility, right? So that's all. You want to explain that piece of yeah, just using the so that's why I say inside limbs versus inside arm or leg. This is the same thing. It's just in a different posture.
OK， 所以很重要的一个重点就是你要把你的手，或者是当你如果很不幸的你已经是躺在地上的姿势的时候，就是要想办法把你的手，或者是你可以拿来做攻击的脚，要放在你和对方，就是你和这个坏人的这个中间。那如果你的脚或者是你的手没办法放在你和坏人的中间的时候，你是没有办法用你的手和脚来做攻击的。刚才 Officer Craig 他有跟我们做示范，就是他如果我靠近他的头的时候，他没办法用手去保护他的头，他就要要转，然后让他的脚在我们两个人的中间哦。所以很重要的一点就是你要把这个手呢放在对方，就是你要越 center 越好，越中间越好，然后脚也是一样，要面对着对方，然后在你和对方的中间。
So there's this paper. I will leave extra copy here. This nonprofit, Asians Are Strong, is I actually got to meet one of the CEOs work for Amazon, and she actually flies up here from San Francisco. And they had this papers with this list of tips that it was giving out to people that where she lived in like Chinatown. And I thought it was good tips. It makes sense, it's very common sense things. But and then at the bottom, I put the WPD workshop principles, which is the same ones we talked about, right? Base. Trusting your intuition, the all in or all out, that just means the dangerous is the middle, right? One arm away. You're safer out here or you're safer like this, right? That's the two.
那不清楚啊。
对，我们会放在 e-newsletter 上。
Managing the distance,
我
right?
们会把它写之后放在 e-newsletter 上
Manage
面
the。damage of it, and if you're grounded, that means on the ground, to keep your feet between you and the other person. And then at the end, I put like 2 emails, my email and our email administrative email. If anybody wants to
Okay.
feedback, they can email that, but that's pretty much the main, lot of different information and kind of a lot to put into 45 minutes, right?
Right.
Hopefully it's a little helpful, and I think there's some, at least not even the technique, there's no real technique, it's just the concept and the principle, right? Awareness, intuition, facing the threat, potential threat is better than not facing the potential threat. Having your limbs in a position that's between, keeping your balance and having your base wide enough. If something is gonna happen, doesn't matter what your answer is, it's just better with this, right? You could kick, punch, doesn't matter, but if it's not this, it's not gonna be as likely you're gonna stay standing up, which is everybody's goal, right? Not to fall down. So I think that's like kind of universal principles that's kind of good reminders, and I can come back in time to review those ones.
Oh,
So I really appreciate everybody's time.
Office Craig, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If that situation, I'm too scared to do any self-defense, can I purchase a police approval, that kind of personal emergency siren whistle? Or
Yeah,
keep,
I mean, none of those is wrong or bad ideas. I think, the point of those is to do what, right? Is to draw attention to that situation so that a person is less likely to keep doing what they're doing. And I think in principle, that's the same thing as being like this and telling them stop. I mean, it's the same idea. Whether you have that or not, it's still better to turn and face the potential threat though. That's my point. Because if you don't, you have a harder time protecting yourself, right? And that's what I say, you cannot predict if somebody's gonna attack you or not. And since you cannot predict that, I trusting your intuition that if something you feel like is going wrong, not ignoring that is I think is a valuable thing, because the alternative is to pretend nothing is happening and just go like this, and that's not it's hard to think of examples where that's an improvement.
no, I mean, I would do the both, or multi-protection.
Yeah, no, you can have this, but whether you have that or not, like I said, my point is it would be still within the foundation of having your good balance, having your hands between you and the person, right? That's all, like, whether you have a weapon or not, I mean, that's a good idea anyways. So
Okay,
having those kind of things is helpful because it draws more attention, right? That's the whole point of having an audible something, is that it makes a person less likely to want to stay there and do whatever they was going to do, because more people might potentially see that.
so
And
probably we had to do the movement every day or all the time.
well, that's for anything. It could be even a pistol, right? Whatever the answer is, the tool is, if you're not regularly doing it, it may as well not have it. Because like people have stuff in their bag a lot, right? Spray or whatever, taser. But if it's not regularly practiced, you're not gonna, it's not magically gonna work out, when you need it in an emergency.
Okay,
So if you're gonna have one, I'd say that's good, but still have the same principles and invest in time to actually practice manipulating it. Because if you don't do that, like I said, it's not gonna magically work in the moment of stress, right? High stress. So,
okay, I will, thank you.
okay.
Is this work, officer?
Does it work?
Is it pull out for you?
Make noise.
Yeah, that's the same thing she was talking about.
Yeah, okay.
It's good, but why, you can still do that, but I'll still have your,
Yeah, they put in the purse and then someone throws it.
yeah, to have practice and just getting used to grabbing it and practicing. But all of this, I feel like that's still the same,
Right.
because it's, you don't want to have a not good balance when you're using that, something like that, or not have your hands in a position to protect your face or whatever,
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. And then-
Thank you, officer. Thank you, Officer Craig. And
Thank you so much.
right, he promises to come back to review and to have more
Yeah.
session for us.
Yeah,
And you promise us to come to the
Practice.
outside to practice together next time.
yeah.
So you will benefit more from
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
practice. Okay,
Okay, and then, don't put your, you can email that one to
right,
everybody or
right.
however way,
I
yeah.
can.
Okay.
we will post the information on our emails later. And thank you, Miss Officer Craig, our honor, and we got a little souvenir
thank you.
for you. And yeah. One, two, three.
Can we do a picture of other people?
Yes, yes, and hello,
Okay.
can we take
来这里
picture
照相
together?
过来，可以那个，
Oh,
一个人在。
I know. We can take picture here and then. So we take
Oh, this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
连朝观众啊，连朝观众。
要不要我们这样放得下去吗？
Thank you. Oh, Thank you very much. You can send that.
I will, yes, I
Okay.
will.
Yeah, thank you so
And
much.
the link of today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
See you again.
Okay. See you again next time you practice. Yeah. 我们应该，Andy，我们应该一个月练习。
重心怎么样？一个人我们要打拳还要。
那边从这边来，你可以打跟边打。